Chat, I don't know if you guys saw, but AEW actually removed, by the way, they removed the win-loss records. I kind of want to talk about this for a second too. And I could just show you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. So if you go on AEW's website, before, like right over here, like under the names, it would show their records, their win-loss records. AEW has gotten away from this. They decided to remove the win-loss record from the product. Now, I could be wrong. I think it was January, but, the wins and losses and the rankings, Tony Khan was bringing it back, and that fell apart really quickly. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but I want to show you this. And it's actually worth talking about because we could talk about AEW creatively. We could talk about attendance and ratings. But let's just talk about the fundamental core values of AEW. Some of the things that they promised us on day one. A sports-based wrestling product. At times, it feels like it's sports-based. With the wins and losses not being on there, it definitely doesn't feel like a sports-based product. But it's all gone. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's all gone. And I think AEW pretty much just lost track of what they were trying to do. I think they lost track of their vision. And I feel like that is one of the biggest issues that you can make as a company, is having a mission statement, having a declarative statement that tells the world what you're going to be and telling people what you're going to do and then not following through on it. By the way, this is like a terrible trait for a lot of humans in general. There's a lot of people that do this. They sit there and they talk about all these things that they're going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I've met a lot of people like this, by the way. A lot of people. I've met a lot of people, and I say it all the time. I'm like, don't talk about what you're going to do. Just shut up, do it, and make it happen. And so, I don't know. For me personally, I looked at this as a little bit of a disappointment. And I know I've had conversations with people from day one when we talked about sports-based product. So many people have tried. So many people thought it would be a good idea. And for a while, it seemed like AEW was actually going to make it work. It wasn't the main focus of AEW. But now, AEW literally can't decide if they want wins and losses to matter, if they don't want wins and losses to matter. Maybe it's incredibly hard to track. But to me, it just seems like AEW can never make up their mind on the win-loss record. And personally speaking, I think that's a mistake. And so when I talk about how AEW is an inconsistent company, they're inconsistent even with what they were saying from day one. And I think that's unfortunate. I think that's actually quite sad. I think it's quite sad to see that AEW got to the point where a lot of things that they said they would do, or a lot of things they said they would be different from WWE, it turns out that wasn't necessarily true. And I do find that to be a pretty big bummer, honestly. I think wins and losses are actually important to wrestling, but I don't know. I was there day one. I remember reporting on this before the company even came around, and just to see that they've gotten so far off track. But like I said, look, I mean, just look. Look, let me pull it up again, just so you guys can see. This is literally how it was. Where does it show their rankings? That was a big selling point. AEW is spending millions of dollars for the Young Bucks and Okada and Mercedes and all these people, right? What happened to the rankings? They got rid of the wins and losses. They got rid of the power rankings. They couldn't stay consistent with it. This is how you can tell a difference between the WWE and AEW. You can tell. And I get it. Tony Khan is rich. He's a rich guy. He owns a lot of businesses. He makes a lot of money, and he's a smart guy. And I understand that he hasn't ran a wrestling company like WWE. WWE's been in business forever. But what you guys are witnessing is a company that is truly inconsistent. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing that they are very inconsistent, and it comes down to the fundamentals. It comes down to the fundamentals. There's a lot of people that make shit happen. There's a lot of people that watch people make shit happen. And there's a lot of people who just simply don't make anything happen at all. And I think Tony Khan is kind of like in the middle of that. I think Tony Khan looks at these ideas and he says, hey, I have a great idea and it's going to work. But then he doesn't know how to execute. By the way, the worst kind of leaders in this world are the ones that just have good ideas. You can have a lot of great ideas, but if you've never executed a great idea, you'll never be successful. And maybe this is a little bit harsh, but this is why I'm a little bit more pessimistic with AEW than I am with WWE. And that's why I truly remain 100% transparent with you guys. I look at this and I say, oh, it's not a big deal. It's just wins and losses. But it's not just the wins and losses. It's not just the power rankings. It's the start and stop pushes. It's the idea that they want to push somebody and then they can't push somebody because they don't really have a long-term vision. They lack execution. And again, this is a company that's asking you to spend $50 this weekend on a pay-per-view. So just keep that in mind. They're asking you to spend money. They asked you to spend money 2 weeks ago, and now they're asking you to do it again. It's just a different ball game. It's a different ball game. This is the harsh reality. I'm not trying to bury AEW. I like a lot of people in AEW. AEW has brought me to countless events. They came to Detroit and I was invited, and that was amazing last year. But the reality is this company is not the same company that it once was. I saw somebody in the chat say, look at Takeshita. He beat Kenny Omega and they took him off TV. Again, lack of execution. It happened with Wardlow. It happened with others. And it's crazy. So if something such as wins and losses get pulled and people are getting start and stop pushes and they're getting rid of power rankings and they have these ideas and they don't really commit to them, it is actually a lot harder to be optimistic for their future. It is. So I don't know if you guys saw that. I want to show it to you. I want to bring it to your attention. Keep in mind, you know, they can always bring it back, but they've done that before. They got rid of it. They brought it back. They've done that a couple times. When they brought it back, they didn't actually stay consistent with it. I don't know. Very odd. Very, very odd. But I want to know what you guys think about that for sure, because that is kind of disappointing. That was the thing that in the beginning they did pretty damn well with it. So they did well with it, and I guess maybe that's one of the downsides to it. An idea that was actually pretty good, but then didn't get executed long term. Nothing more disappointing than that. Remember, that's how we bought into the vision. So, yeah.